writing a musical with a very talented man about the Marquis Des Barres, which
Okay.
is a hell of a story, and that requires a little more. But music that I love, I've been playing the same since, a long time,
For sure. For sure.
50 years,
Yeah.
55 decades. I've had record deals in the last 5 decades. How about that?
Mm. That
You know,
is so. And now, I have to ask you. I was doing a little poking around into the history, and one of the things that kind of jumped out is the referral to, and I'm not 100% sure where I had read this was do you hold a title?
yes, I do. As Sherry will tell you, it's in the movie
Marquis
when
Des
you see it.
Barres.
Yeah,
That's right, darling. That's right.
it is.
She'll fill you in. And yes, I am. I am a Marquis, and it's an 800-year-old title. The documentary starts with my ancestor in battle, and he saves the King of France, and as a result, he was made a Marquis. 800 years later, I am the 26th Marquis Des Barres. Yes.
Wow. It
And
was.
it means nothing, by the way. It means absolutely nothing to me whatsoever.
It's
It
nice
is
to have that title
meaningless.
though, right? I mean, you're when you look at other actors and musicians when knighted by the Queen, and it's a sir. I mean, well, you're a lord.
Yeah, but it's all bullshit. I mean, what happened was in the 60s when rock and roll came to Mick Jagger would get a better table in a restaurant than, Prince Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Rock and roll aristocracy took over from the aristocracy.
Yeah.
Well, it means nothing. It's nothing. It's who you are as a person. I could give a shit about anything like that. I think the main thing I got was an amazing education because I was at 1 year old. My education was paid for. My father was in jail, but the money had already been spent. So I had this incredible education. The only unfortunate thing about it was boarding schools, and I never got the opportunity to go to a home because I didn't have a home. So I would stay at the schools while everybody else was on vacation. But what happened was I would read. I would read everything. I went to this gothic, beautiful library in the school grounds, and I read everything for 8 years. And then at
Michael?
16, I left. And yes, baby.
Sorry. Michael, you had mentioned that when people would ask you as a child about your father, you said he was a man of means. And later on, when you were a child, you must have known that you had that title, the Marquis. But you mentioned later on that you had met your father in a pub, and you give this really amazing representation of him entering in a well tailored suit with a young teenage girl. And for anyone who's adopted, wondering who their father was, I'm sure everybody puts that father on a pedestal. So did that I know that you're a man with great charisma on screen. So when you, after that meeting with your father, did you walk away with your head held higher that yes, I am, legitimate, or did it just give you more spring in your stride because yes, this man had presence, he is what I hoped for? I'm not sure if I'm making any sense with
Fabulous
that.
question. No, you're making complete sense. It's a wonderful question. I never put him on a pedestal. There was only one person on a pedestal, and that was me. Mm-hmm. If I didn't feel that way, I couldn't have survived. He meant nothing to me. He'd done nothing for me, and he meant nothing to me. He was just another person. And this was at a time in my life when I didn't trust a soul, you see, especially him. I agreed to see him because he needed money. Okay. And I gave him money. Mm-hmm. And I was, 18?
Wow.
But I'd been really successful as an actor, and I saw this pathetic creature with this young girl with second oil falling out of his jacket, and his beautiful suit was torn at the shoulder. And it was a very, very interesting and sad moment. But I dismissed it immediately and got on with it. I don't let those things obsess me. My obsessions are artistic more than anything else. That's artistic, not autistic. But, God bless him. But pedestals? No, hell no. Anything but.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because when I saw that portion, I thought, well, as a child, I was almost, I think, your breaking free moment from son to your own individual. Now you're free. That's over. That chapter's closed, and you're off on stage, center stage. It was very important part of the movie at the beginning, because to me that just defined your strength and stamina going forward.
Yeah, that's a very, very observational of you. And yes, certainly, in retrospect, in hindsight, it was a huge hurdle that I jumped over, because of the guy that I never knew, there he is in front of me, and he's a shadow. And yet I could see it clearly. And yeah, I moved on. The interesting thing about it is, and for your listeners, and I hope this is not too difficult to hear, but I was illegitimate until I was 30. When I was 30, I got a letter from a lawyer saying, Michael, you're now legitimate. Your mother just married your father.
Oh, wow.
They let her out of the loony bin to marry him and then put her back in the institution. How's that for a couple of tears? And I remember when I got that letter and I looked at it and I said, nobody can legitimize me except me.
Yeah. That's what a bizarre thing to receive in the mail after that much time.
Oh, I've got a lot of bizarre things in the mail, my friend.
No doubt. But that definitely,
you wouldn't believe what I've got in the mail. But this was a very heavy moment, and I didn't feel anything really. I mean, I just sort of laughed, and I still do. It's such a Dickensian story. It's like something out of some Charles Dickens, nightmare. But it wasn't. It was just my life,
Yeah.
And it's all in the movie. It all made me who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with who I am. And so are all my wives.
So you have been in a very awkward situation at such a young age, such that many of our listeners themselves have probably been in, and it's nice to see one of those, or even be able to talk to someone who's a real life success story, someone who truly made themselves without regard for what a family would think. There's many people who were so governed.
It's a misnomer to say awkward. I wasn't in any awkward situations. I was removed from every situation because I would observe. I wouldn't participate in all of those things that happened to me. The pedophiles, the producers, the people that made movies, the agents, all of them, pederastic, all of them. Yeah. And I looked like Julie Christie, at the time. So it was a very difficult thing, but I never looked at it as awkward. I just objectified it. I never sort of fell into it. Mm-hmm. I never felt like a victim.
That's good.
And that's very important.
Max, you're such not the victim, because any rock star fan or anything, we all know who Pamela Des Barres is. So for you to have been able to tame her and make her your wife and mother of your child, yes, you were a legend early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the greatest. And she is the greatest. She's an incredible person, an extraordinary person. You must forgive me. I'm having a studio built on our property. Hang on one second.
Certainly.
If you can hear that banging, but I'm building a studio here because obviously I can't go to the studio, so I'm building one. Pamela is a goddess, and I love her to this day. All of my wives are friends. It's an incredible vibe, and in this family I have the deepest respect for, absolutely. She is an amazing person. In fact, Jagger's daughter, Scarlett, just bought a photograph of Pamela, one of the beautiful pictures of Miss Pamela, to frame for her father, to put up in her father's studio. Her father, Scarlett, is Mick Jagger. So,
I would love to see that.
Yeah, she is deeply respected by the people that are in her books.
Mm-hmm.
They all love her. Everybody loves Pamela. That's why when she began her journey of feminism and showing girls, and I'm sure Sherry knows this perfectly, as being as gorgeous as you are a potential victim to a lot of these people. And we know what we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. Now, what happened to Pamela was Gloria Steinem, of all people, a feminist writer, actually slurred and really was very rude about Pamela's past. Pamela's past was doing what she wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That is called feminism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she was experiencing these things, and all of those guys, Jagger, Jim Morrison, you name it, Jimmy, all of them love her. And she learned a lot, and she moved on, and she wrote books, and she teaches writing. I mean, so I was furious at Gloria Steinem when this came out. This is decades ago, but I'll never forget it, calling, Miss P a slut. I just wanted to take her aviator shades and shove them up her ass.
Yep.
It was just very annoying.
It's amazing.
Of course, I felt better about it now. I know that she was obviously didn't understand that culture, but she should have, and she didn't, and God bless her. But, Pamela made a lot of young women free.
It's truly amazing when you think about point of view. So in this particular case, I mean, truly, Pamela was living her dream. She wanted to do this. She wanted to meet these people. She was infatuated, and she truly paved her way. So for people to look at it from the other side and be so judgmental and really jealous and cruel. And it's amazing.
I mean, if Mick Jagger went to Gloria Steinem and said, "Let me come back to the hotel," do you think Gloria Steinem would have gone back to the hotel with Jumping Jack Flash? I think so.
Damn right.
Give me shelter, baby.
It's true. Now,
painted black, bitch. Painted black, bitch.
Since you brought up Mick Jagger, is it true that you actually had a part in Maroon 5's Move Like Jagger?
Yes, absolutely. I was one of the dancers because Jonas, who is the most brilliant director, I did I was working with Rihanna on a video game, and Jonas Ackerland was directing it, and it was very complicated. These video games, you have to do a lot of work.
Because
there's so many different paths you can go down.
Yep.
And Rihanna was fantastic, and he liked me, and he said, "Listen, I'm going to do this thing tomorrow night with Adam Levine and Maroon 5, and it's what was the song called?
Moves Like
Dance
Jagger.
Like Jagger.
Yeah, Moves Like Jagger.
Yep. I said, "Would you like to come down and do that?" I said, "Of course, for you." So I'm not a huge Maroon 5 fan. I didn't ever meet the band. They just shot me dancing up and down, on a stage, and with the Union Jack and a top hat, and it paid me a fortune, and away I went. But it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been so lucky in so many ways, and I think the most important word here is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to do it? Yes, I would like to do that. That would be fun. And I very rarely say no.
It's good to be in that position to say yes or no. Like you do things because you really want to do them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's been that way for decades. I've never done anything I didn't want to do.
And if they pulled up with a dump truck full of money, that's all good too.
Well, I mean, but the thing is I've lived a life where, when you've done over 100 hours of American television,
mm-hmm.
you're on television somewhere all the time, and you get $3 from Sweden, and it adds up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you?
It's.
Do you still get what some actors call mailbox money? Where you still get those residuals from replays of episodes?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Of course.
Amazing.
Of course.
Now,
MacGyver's on every day, all day, everywhere.
So I wanted to ask you about that.
Seinfeld, WKRP in Cincinnati, Gilmore Girl,
all favorites.
I've done them all.
Yes.
Roseanne shows, Melrose Place. I mean, imagine. I mean, they've got these shows are shown 24/7 all over the world. So of course I go to, I go to the mailbox.
I always remembered you as being like the Moriarty to the original MacGyvers, to Richard Dean Anderson's Holmes. Like you were that perfect villain, a great, unkillable assassin that just, couldn't, I mean, I think